I'll show you this picture here. Look at one of the passports that Saeed looks at. If you look at the name closely, it says Dean Moriarty. Um, and if, just like I had mentioned in other videos, that no name is put there without reason. Professor Moriarty was in Sherlock Holmes. He was the arch nemesis and was considered really the first true example of a supervillain. And he was considered by Sherlock Holmes the Napoleon of crime. And that obviously fits really well to Ben's character. In Saeed's flash forward, him and Elsa get really intimate, but it turns out that they're both setting each other up. Saeed's looking for her boss, and he says that you're not working for an economist. And then and it turns out that Elsa shoots him, and it shows that she's setting him up, that all along she was supposed to meet him and kill him. And Saeed doesn't die, obviously, and while she's making the call to her economist, which, by the way, was 30 minutes late, or 31. Maybe the person's from the island. Could be Richard, like I was mentioning earlier. And she's calling him, and Saeed gets the gun, shoots her, and she dies. And he goes over to her bracelet, and obviously looks at it for a little bit, and it just shows that there's a connection between Naomi and him, or sorry, Naomi and her, and that they're probably working for the same guy. So you see Saeed walking into a building, and there's a sign outside. I'm not sure what it says, something in German. And he goes into a room where there's a bunch of dogs. And why are there dogs? Could it have some significance to the dog in Jacob's cabin? Could it be maybe Vincent? If you remember in the orientation films, there were rabbits, and that rabbit had a clone of itself. So maybe it could be happening with the dog. And when I first saw that dog, I was closest to the door, which was also a poster of the dog in the next room, as you can see. It looked like it didn't have any eyes. It was freaky. I'm not sure why. I was thinking Vincent would be there too. But you see Saeed go into the room, and it turns out that he's talking to Ben, which is pretty. That was really was not expecting that. Ben isn't one of the Oceanic Six because he obviously wasn't on the plane, but it shows that he can go to and from the island whenever he pleases, just like I was talking about earlier with all the passports and suits. So he's probably using a different alias or a different name, and he's talking to Saeed and says, remember what happened remember what happened last time you were thinking with your heart instead of your gun. And Saeed says, and Saeed's using a list that Ben gave him to kill people, probably people that know about the island. And Ben says, if you do what you're told, that your friends will be safe. So obviously they're still on the island. And then Saeed says, well, they probably know who I am now. And Ben ends with saying, well, good. If you remember the last episode, Sawyer says to Locke, he, referring to Ben, is going to get us. And I bet he already has it figured out on how he's going to do it. And remember Saeed earlier, when he's locked up with Ben in this episode, he says, I'd rather sell my soul than trust Ben or him. And obviously he has to trust him, so something desperate had to happen for Saeed to work for him. And also, we know that Jack and Hurley and Kate are some of the Oceanic Six. Why don't they have to do anything for Ben? Why don't they have to kill for him? Maybe they are. Maybe they have just different deals that they're all working for Ben. And then if they do, that their friends will be okay. And also at the end of season 3, Kate says he'll be wondering where I am. Like he has to get back to him. A lot of people thought that was Sawyer at first. Now it could be Ben, meaning that he'll be wondering where I am, that she has to be doing something for Ben. I'm thinking more and more that the person in the coffin is Ben. If you remember back to season 3, the last episode, when Jack goes to visit him, he says he's neither friend nor family. The guy in the obituary who died, it was a different name, and we know that Ben has many names. Then Jack also goes over to him and he cries. I think he cries, if it is Ben, I think he cries because he knows that Ben's the only way to get back to the island. That's his only connection to how, and then he needs to get back there, but he can't. Now here's a cool thing. Look at, I'm going to show you this picture right here. Look at the Mona Lisa, and then look at the dog picture that's in Jacob's cabin that they've been showing us 2 times. So it's obviously important. Now look at the backgrounds. They look very similar, and then look at their arms. They're crossed very similarly. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. Maybe Jacob is Da Vinci. Also, it's nearing the or it's on the 108th day, which is that the Losties have been there, at least in real world time. So it'd be interesting if that's the day they got rescued, 108. And lastly, the audio masters have done it again. This is from last episode, episode 2, when Miles is praying over Naomi's dead body. He's talking. It's actually English backwards, so they reversed it and slowed it down a little, and I'll play it for you. This is what they say. And again.